Elvis Presley. He redefined music and sent shockwaves through American culture. From his humble beginnings in Tupelo, Mississippi to his meteoric rise to fame, his story captivated millions. Elvis's music transcended generations, blending blues, gospel, and country into a potent cocktail. Even today, over 4 decades after his untimely death, his music continues to resonate. Are you ready to investigate the death of Elvis? And let's look into the people that swear they have seen the ghost of the legend himself. Let's do it. Welcome to Screamville. August 16th, 1977. News spread like wildfire. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was dead. Found unresponsive in his bathroom at Graceland, the official cause of death was declared a heart attack. He was only 42 years old. The news sent shockwaves across the globe. Thousands flocked to Graceland, creating a sea of mourning outside the gates of his beloved home. But even as fans grappled with their grief, whispers began to circulate. The king was gone, but the story didn't feel over. Elvis Aaron Presley, born in a 2-room house in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1935. Elvis's childhood was marked by poverty, but also by music. In 1948, the Presley family moved to Memphis, Tennessee. It was here, amidst the vibrant music scene of Beale Street, that Elvis truly began to blossom. In 1954, at the age of 19, Elvis walked into Sun Studios and changed music history. His first single, That's All Right, became a local hit, and soon, the whole nation was rocking to the Elvis beat. Hit after hit followed Blue Suede Shoes, Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock. But fame, as they say, comes at a price. The relentless touring, the constant scrutiny of the press, the pressure to maintain his image, it all took a toll on Elvis. He sought solace in prescription drugs, a dangerous habit that would plague him for years to come. Despite the turmoil in his personal life, Elvis continued to perform, to create music, to connect with his legions of fans. But behind the dazzling smile and the energetic performances, a darkness was growing. Elvis's health began to deteriorate. His dependence on prescription drugs spiraled. In 1973, amidst growing concerns about his health, Elvis staged a comeback with the Aloha from Hawaii concert. It was a spectacular performance, a testament to his enduring talent and charisma. The Aloha from Hawaii concert was a resounding success, reaffirming Elvis's status as a global superstar. But it was also a fleeting glimpse of the king at his best. Despite his failing health, Elvis continued to tour, driven by a need to perform. By the summer of 1977, Elvis was a recluse, holed up in his Graceland mansion. On August 16, 1977, Elvis Presley was found unresponsive in his bathroom at Graceland. The official cause of death was cardiac arrhythmia, but the toxicology report revealed a cocktail of prescription drugs in his system. The king was dead at the age of 42, his life cut tragically short. The news of Elvis's death sent shockwaves around the world. Around 2:30 p.m., Elvis's fiancée, Ginger Alden, stirred from her sleep. Elvis, who had been reading in the bathroom, was nowhere to be found. Concerned, she called out to him, but there was no response. Elvis lay sprawled on the floor, his face buried in the plush white carpet, his body completely still. The news of Elvis's collapse ripped through Graceland like a tornado. Alarms were raised, phones rang off the hook, and within minutes, the mansion was swarming with frantic activity. The ambulance sped away from Graceland, sirens wailing a mournful dirge through the Memphis streets. Inside, paramedics fought desperately to revive Elvis, but their efforts were in vain. At 3:30 p.m., Elvis Aaron Presley was officially pronounced dead. In the days after his funeral, whispers started swirling among a group of skeptics who refused to believe Elvis had left, well, anything. Despite doctors, coroners, and basic common sense confirming that the 42-year-old superstar had indeed passed away, conspiracy theorists insisted their favorite hip-swinging heartthrob had faked his death and slipped into hiding. Over the decades, Elvis sightings have become as American as apple pie, or suspiciously shaped clouds. Fans across North America claim to have spotted the king roaming around, from local diners to gas stations. In 1989, 3 particularly passionate fans even formed the Elvis Sighting Society because why not? Dedicated to tracking his appearances. One of the more eyebrow-raising claims, that Elvis made a cameo as an extra in the 1990 film Home Alone. Who better to help Kevin defend the house than Elvis himself? Of course, Presley isn't the only star who pop culture has refused to let rest in peace. Conspiracy theories have cropped up after other high-profile deaths, from James Dean's 1955 car crash to Michael Jackson's 2009 overdose to Tupac Shakur being shot. Fans cling to the idea that their favorite icons are still out there living incognito. One of the juiciest Elvis theories? That he faked his death to escape the mafia. Author Gail Brewer Giorgio, who penned the 1988 bestseller Is Elvis Alive?, claims her deep dive into FBI documents revealed that Presley was actually an American hero who had to enter witness protection. According to her, Elvis didn't just leave the stage, he left the mob. Because let's face it, what's cooler than taking down organized crime? Maybe faking your death to do it. Long live the king. Brewer Giorgio claims that Elvis wasn't just the king of rock and roll. He was also the king of undercover ops. According to her, the FBI recruited Presley in 1976 to infiltrate a criminal organization called the Fraternity, a gang of racketeers with a name that sounds more like a secret society for bad handshakes and worse decisions. Apparently, Elvis didn't just swivel his hips for America. He volunteered for the mission out of sheer patriotism and respect for the FBI. The connection? A shady deal involving one of Elvis's airplanes and a member of the fraternity. But when the jig was up and Elvis was outed as a mole, Brewer Giorgio says the singer had no choice but to fake his death and join the witness protection program. Elvis faked his death because he was going to be killed. There was no doubt about it. She insists, citing what she claims are FBI documents and interviews. The FBI, for its part, isn't exactly jumping to confirm this rockin' spy tale. In fact, the 760 files they've released about Elvis, spanning 1956 to 1980, contain no evidence of Presley's undercover work, or, frankly, of his posthumous pizza runs. The files do confirm that Elvis admired the FBI. During a 1971 visit to their headquarters, the king reportedly offered his services to the Bureau, which might explain the legend, but not the leap into witness protection. The documents mostly detail extortion cases in which Presley was the target and touch on business dealings related to his plane. No top-secret missions, just mundane stuff like paperwork. Some members of the Memphis Mafia maintained that Elvis had been battling depression and had spoken of wanting to escape the pressures of fame. Others whispered of strange phone calls Elvis had received in the days leading up to his death. Was Elvis involved in something dangerous, something that threatened his life and forced him into hiding? Even Elvis's fiancée, Ginger Alden, offered conflicting accounts of his final hours. Elvis researcher Patrick Lacey, author of Elvis Decoded, isn't buying it. Those FBI files are public. I've seen them. There's nothing in there, he says, pouring cold water on Brewer Giorgio's claims. So unless Elvis was moonlighting as James Bond and shredding the evidence, it looks like the King's spy days might just be another tall tale. And let's be real. If Elvis had been an undercover agent, wouldn't we all know by now? The guy couldn't even buy a cheeseburger without getting mobbed by fans. All the evidence points to one conclusion. Elvis left the building for real. Elvis researcher Patrick Lacey told Time. The medical records, the eyewitness accounts, it's all there. For him to have faked his death, you'd need the cooperation and silence of hundreds, maybe even thousands of people over decades. And let's face it, people can't even keep the plot of a Marvel movie under wraps. But skeptics have their own theory. They claim the king left a tombstone typo clue. His middle name is spelled Aaron instead of Aaron. The argument? Using his real name would have been taboo because obviously he was still alive. Debunkers counter that Elvis started spelling it Aaron later in life, perhaps just to keep things spicy. Then there's the infamous Priscilla Presley interview on Oprah in 2005. While talking about how Elvis spoiled their daughter, Lisa Marie, skeptics allege that Priscilla accidentally said, "It's exactly what he said the other day," before correcting herself to, "You said." Naturally, this slip-up sent conspiracy theorists into a frenzy. As if that weren't enough, during a 2003 interview with Larry King, Lisa Marie dodged a question about whether she ever felt communication with her father. Cue the tinfoil hats. But according to Lacey, these wild theories only add unnecessary pain to Elvis's family. "I'm a big Elvis fan. I didn't get into this because I'm bored. These theories are disrespectful to Elvis and his loved ones," he said. "Imagine having to go through life defending your father from claims that he conned the world. His death hurt a lot of people. It still does." What kind of person do they think Elvis was to do that? Most Americans, it seems, agree that Elvis died in 1977. A Gallup poll from 1997 found only 4% believed the king was still alive, while a whopping 93% were certain he was gone. And yet Brewer Giorgio isn't backing down. The Georgia author, who interestingly doesn't own a single Elvis album or any memorabilia, insists her claims are rooted in cold, hard facts. "I know what he really did," she said. "The world needs to know that Elvis Presley put his life on the line." Hours after Elvis's death was announced to the world, a private jet, one rumored to be favored by Elvis himself, took off from Memphis International Airport. The plane's destination, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Fueling the intrigue, the passenger manifest for that flight listed a John Burroughs, a name Elvis had used on numerous occasions to book hotels and travel incognito. Coincidence? A cruel trick of fate? Or a deliberate breadcrumb left behind by the king himself, a wink and a nod to those who knew where to look? The John Burroughs flight, as it came to be known, became a cornerstone of the Elvis is alive theory, cited as irrefutable evidence by those who believed the king had orchestrated his own disappearance. Adding to the mystery, a rental car was later found abandoned at the Memphis airport, its registration linked to, you guessed it, John Burroughs. The plot thickened, the lines between fact and fiction blurring with each tantalizing detail. The evidence, while circumstantial, was compelling. Had Elvis, a master showman to the end, staged his own death, using the John Burroughs alias to slip away unnoticed? For believers, it was a puzzle begging to be solved, a trail leading to a truth far more intriguing than the official narrative. Back at Graceland, the mysteries continued. Fans poring over photographs of Elvis lying in his casket swore they saw something amiss. His sideburns, usually meticulously styled, appeared to be missing a patch of hair, as if hastily applied. The nose, they claimed, didn't quite look like Elvis's, the jawline not quite as defined. Were these simply tricks of the light, the distorted perceptions of grieving fans clinging to any shred of hope? Or were they subtle hints, deliberately planted by Elvis himself, clues left behind for those who knew how to read them? In the early 2000s, a man using the name Jesse claimed to be Elvis Presley, suggesting that Elvis had faked his death in 1977 and assumed the identity of his stillborn twin brother, Jesse Garon Presley. This claim gained attention when Dr. Donald Hinton, a Kansas City psychiatrist, asserted that he was treating Elvis under the name Jesse. In 2008, a woman named Eliza A. Presley, formerly Alice Elizabeth Tiffin, from Washington State, claimed to be the half-sister of Elvis Presley, alleging that she was the daughter of Elvis's father, Vernon Presley. Eliza stated that DNA tests supported her claim, showing a match between her DNA and that of a man known as Jesse, whom she believed to be Elvis. She also claimed that her DNA matched with members of the Presley family, including a paternal cousin. Eliza filed legal documents seeking recognition as Vernon Presley's daughter and a share of his estate. However, her mother, Florence Juanita Sharp, denied any relationship with Vernon Presley and stated that Eliza's father was another man from Memphis. The legal proceedings did not conclusively establish Eliza's claims, and the estate's representatives dismissed them as lacking merit. No figure loomed larger in Elvis's life than Colonel Tom Parker. Parker was a shrewd businessman who transformed a young singer into a global icon. But he was also controversial, often accused of exploiting Elvis. After Elvis's death, Parker dismissed conspiracy theories, maintaining Elvis died of natural causes. He lived life on his own terms, and he died on his own terms. It's as simple as that. While Colonel Parker defended the official narrative, others weren't so sure. Red West, Elvis's bodyguard and confidant, saw the toll fame took on him. The pressure, loneliness, and drug abuse. Red believed Elvis faked his death. He claimed to receive cryptic messages from Elvis after 1977. Elvis was tired of fame and wanted a quiet life, and I think that's exactly what he did. Despite the compelling testimonies and clues, many remained unconvinced. Skeptics, armed with logic and science, dismantled the evidence piece by piece. They argued sightings were mistaken identity, wishful thinking, or hoaxes. Anomalies at Graceland were human error or grief-stricken perceptions. Elvis was a human being subject to the same laws of nature. He lived, he loved, he died. To suggest otherwise insults his memory. Skeptics reminded us that extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. But for believers, the legend of Elvis was too powerful to be contained by facts. Now let's talk about what this channel does best. The Ghost of Elvis. Here's a deep dive into the spectral life of Elvis, where he allegedly haunts, and the stories of those who claim to have had close encounters with the ghost of the pelvis. Naturally, the King's beloved mansion is ground zero for Elvis sightings. Fans claim to have seen his apparition roaming the jungle room or chilling in the meditation garden. Apparently, not even death could break his attachment to velvet furniture. Maybe he's just stuck there trying to figure out how many jumpsuits are too many for one lifetime. Guests at this Elvis-themed hotel have reported hearing phantom footsteps and a distant baritone hum of "Love Me Tender" late at night. It could be Elvis, or just someone with a karaoke obsession that's gotten way out of hand. Sun Studio is the birthplace of rock and roll, is said to have the King lingering in its recording booths. Staff occasionally hear ghostly singing or feel an inexplicable energy, especially near his favorite spots. If the equipment starts playing Jailhouse Rock by itself, you know Elvis is conducting from the afterlife. Casinos like the Westgate, formerly the International Hotel, report ghostly Elvis sightings. Elvis performed here over 800 times, and people swear they've seen his shimmering figure walking backstage or hovering near slot machines. Maybe he's trying to win back all the money Priscilla spent redecorating Graceland. As a country music legend, Elvis is said to pop by the Ryman Auditorium occasionally. Some visitors report catching a fleeting glimpse of him in a shadowy corner, possibly critiquing modern country music. Someone better warn him about auto-tune before he haunts a recording studio in rage. A handful of psychics insist they've channeled Elvis. They claim he's happy in the afterlife, enjoying celestial peanut butter and banana sandwiches. If he's really talking through psychics, why hasn't he given us the recipe for his fried chicken yet? Several maids at the Westgate swear they've heard a deep voice serenading them, or seen a rhinestone jumpsuit-clad figure walking down the hall. Imagine trying to vacuum a room and hearing, "Uh-huh-huh," you missed a spot. Die-hard Elvis fans claim they've seen his ghost at Graceland during candlelight vigils. Some say they've caught glimpses of his shadow in upstairs windows or felt his presence while touring the grounds. It's probably Elvis wondering why people still pay $100 to look at his old furniture. In the 1980s, pilots flying over Memphis claimed to see a strange figure waving at them from the grounds of Graceland. Who knew Elvis upgraded from pink Cadillacs to an afterlife private jet runway? People describe Elvis's ghost as a laid-back presence. He's not the type to throw dishes or slam doors. Instead, he might hum his greatest hits or make you feel inexplicably calm. However, if you see a ghostly figure with slicked-back hair and a white jumpsuit shaking its hips, don't worry. It's probably just Elvis making sure his legacy stays alive. Maybe he's haunting his old stomping grounds to keep an eye on his impersonators. Someone has to ensure they're swiveling their hips properly. Elvis sightings might just be the ultimate fan tribute, or who knows? Maybe he really did leave the building for another plane of existence. Wherever he is, one thing's for sure, Elvis will always be the king, whether he's in Graceland or Ghostland. So did Elvis fake his death? Or is he haunting places like Graceland, Las Vegas, and beyond? The truth is, we may never know. Conspiracy theories about Elvis living in disguise are as alive as, well, Elvis might be. Whether he's flipping burgers in Kalamazoo or laying low in some secret government bunker, one thing's certain, the king has a knack for keeping people talking. Maybe he's just the ultimate showman, orchestrating the longest encore in history. If he is dead, though, he's clearly not ready to retire from the spotlight. Ghostly sightings of a jumpsuit-wearing, peanut butter and banana sandwich-loving apparition are too numerous to ignore. But let's face it, if you were Elvis, wouldn't you stick around to hear fans scream your name for eternity? Haunting Las Vegas casinos and Graceland seems like a fitting afterlife for a rock and roll legend. Rolling dice, checking out his own memorabilia, and giving occasional hip shakes to the living. In the end, whether Elvis is hiding in plain sight or moonlighting as a ghost, one thing's for sure. His spirit lives on in the music, the fans, and the mystery. So next time you hear "Can't Help Falling in Love" and feel a chill down your spine, don't panic. It could just be the king reminding you he's still got the moves. Or maybe it's just your neighbor's Elvis impersonation practice bleeding through the walls. Either way, long live the king. If you enjoyed this mystery, please be sure to subscribe for more. And as always, thanks for watching.